What is going on, Pats Nation? You guys already know who it is. Patriots Global here, back with another video, and in this one, we have another draft prospect video here. The New England Patriots did trade up in the second round with the Kansas City Chiefs. The New England Patriots are going to be trading 54 and 158. 158 is going to be a fifth-round pick to, again, the Kansas City Chiefs in exchange for pick 50 overall. So the New England Patriots trading up about 4 spots here to take Baylor wide receiver Tyquan Thornton. And here's what I'll say about this pick. Definitely surprising by the Patriots. Not that I hate this pick, and we'll get into what he brings, but just surprised. I'm surprised that this is the route the Patriots decided to go. When you look at the classic Patriots wide receiver, you don't think of a speedster, and that's exactly what Thornton is going to bring. That is his game. He is a speedster. He ran a 4.28 40-yard dash. That's an official 4.28.2. That ranks as the 4th fastest wide receiver to run a 40-yard dash in the combine since 2006. Now, the thing about this is that the Patriots definitely did reach. If this was their guy, then okay. I don't think the team needed to trade up for Thornton in order to acquire him, but at the same time, they only gave up a 5th-round pick, and Bill Belichick absolutely hates 5th-round picks, so I'm sure he didn't care to make sure that he 100% maintained the ability to obtain Thornton. PFF has Thornton ranked as the 192nd best prospect in this year's draft, and he has an average draft projection of going 150 overall. From what I've heard, he was more of like a day 3 pick. He's going to be more of like a late 3rd, but more so a 4th-round pick. But at the end of the day, speed kills. And when you're as fast as Thornton, it really doesn't matter how big you are, how small you are, the other mechanics you have, because speed kills in the NFL these days, no matter what position you're at. So he very well could have gone higher. I was definitely surprised by the pick. Now, obviously, John Mechie went earlier, so the Patriots weren't going to be able to get him. But guys like Khalil Shakur were on the board that I really liked. Even a guy like Sky Moore, surprisingly, still on the board. Both guys that I thought really would fit the Patriots system a whole lot better than somebody like Thornton. Because, again, the Patriots don't really use these speedsters in their offense all that much. And when they do, they really only have one guy. You know, they had Brandon Cooks. That was your speedster. They have Nelson Aguilar right now. That's your speedster. They had Philip Dorsett at the time. That was your speedster. So with that being said, I'll be very curious to see what happens with Nelson Aguilar. Do the Patriots just want to have 2 speedsters and really make this offense a downfield offense that can stretch the field, give Mac Jones more splash plays down the field? Or do you now try to ship off Nelson Aguilar? So far, this draft has definitely piqued my interest, just in the sense of so far through 2 picks, the Patriots have definitely reached for both of these players, both in Strange and in Thornton. But I think it's also interesting because we were expecting the Patriots to go defense the first pick, but so far in the first round and the second round that they traded up in, they have went offense. And the Patriots don't go wide receiver this early in the draft. I can't remember the last time they went this early outside of N'Keal Harry, so they must really see something in Thornton that piques their interest. But again, some of these other receivers that were still on the board, Khalil Shakur, Romeo Doubs, Sky Moore at the time was still on the board, George Pickens, Alec Pierce, Kyle Phillips, Jalen Tolbert. And even if you wanted to look at some defensive guys that were on the board, I mean, Nakobe Dean on the board, Travis Jones was on the board, Leo Chenal, Nick Benito, Cam Taylor-Britt, the cornerback that I'm surprised the Patriots still have not tried to address yet. There's some safety guys like Nick Cross who could have gone. But I am very excited to see where the potential of Tyquan Thornton will go, especially within this system, because he's a guy that the Patriots really don't normally draft. He's still very young also, only 21 years old. He brings a fair size at 6'2", 181 pounds. Now, the weight-wise of him is definitely concerning. This is a very, very small, thin guy. He does bring a little bit of height, though, which I do like as a perimeter wide receiver. Ideally, you would like to see a wide receiver entering the NFL at at least 190 pounds, so this is a guy you're hoping that can get a little bit bigger, but he doesn't exactly play in the slot. He doesn't play within that short to intermediate route, so he doesn't like to get hit a whole lot. He's not someone that does get hit a whole lot because he does play the perimeter. He runs a 4.28. He gets behind the back of a defense. So normally, he's not getting hit all that much. Now, this past year at Baylor was his best season so far, posting an overall grade of 82.9. The 2 years prior to that, not good grades. 53.8 in 2020, 65.9 in 2019. Put up a receiving grade this past season of 82.4, 2.5 yards per route ran, which I do like. I think that's a good number. Has a very good contested catch rate, especially for somebody his size. You wouldn't exactly expect that. Has a 55.6 contested catch rate. He's a guy that can catch passes in really tight areas, especially with a defensive back right on the back of his heels. He's also a very good short-handed receiver, only a 4.6% drop rate. That is a very good percentage. Once it kind of reaches that 10%, that's where you get concerned, and he hasn't even peaked 5%. One area of his game that does concern me, especially at the NFL level, is going to be how he gets open against man coverage. That's been an issue for a lot of these Patriots receivers, weapons, tight ends, is getting open quick enough against press man coverage, and he had a 66.7 overall grade versus man coverage. Again, he's mainly going to be a perimeter wide receiver, played 392 snaps as a perimeter guy, or 372 snaps rather, as a perimeter guy this past season with only 20 in the slot. I think the Patriots will use him from time to time in the slot, just kind of as a mismatch guy. But for the most part, you're getting your perimeter guy here. He was targeted 98 times this past season with 62 receptions for 941 yards and averaged 15.2 yards per reception. In 2019, he averaged 17.4 yards per reception, and in 2020, averaged 9.9. He also was able to put up about 10 touchdowns this past season. Now again, I don't really think the Patriots needed to trade up for this guy. It kind of surprised me when they traded up, and this is the guy they decided to go with again. He wasn't expected to be a second-round pick at the earliest, a late third, but more of a fourth-round guy. But at the same time, maybe they were trying to get ahead of some of these other teams. I mean, after the Patriots picked him up at pick 50, at pick 52, George Pickens went to the Steelers. Pick 53 right after that, Alec Pierce went to the Colts. Pick right after that at 54 to the Chiefs, Sky Moore. And honestly, after the Chiefs shipped off Tyreek Hill this offseason, it wouldn't have surprised me if they went and they tried to pick up Thornton to kind of be their next speedster, because the Chiefs are a team that really relies on that speedster for their offense. He's also going to give the Patriots some special teams ability. He does have experience as a kick returner. Obviously, Gunnar Olszewski left. The Patriots don't have a kick returner nor a punt returner, and with 4.28 speed, he could definitely be a good return man with some coaching, obviously, but could definitely be the Patriots kick returner for this upcoming season. Overall, definitely not the pick that I was expecting, but it is still a good pick. You're getting a super fast wide receiver. If you're someone who wanted the Patriots to add some speed to this offense, this is the guy in this draft that was going to do so. He's pretty good at getting separation. He runs pretty good routes. He has a bigger route tree than you would expect for somebody that really relies on their game with speed. NFL Network said that he also has above average footwork, something that the Patriots really like in their wide receivers also. And for a guy his size, or how small that frame is, you would expect that he'd get more pushed around as a run blocker, but he holds his own when it comes to run blocking also, which you just know Bill Belichick loves. Although this guy is a speedster, he's really going to be your bread and butter for down the field, stretch the field, big splash plays. I do think that he could still operate pretty well in the Patriots short to intermediate route games also, which we've seen a lot of these speedster wide receivers come in here in New England and not really be able to work well within those short to intermediate routes. I do think Thornton can kind of change that aspect there. Before we end this video off, I want to give a big shout out to the sponsors of this video, betonline.ag. Our partners over at BetOnline continue to be the #1 source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, including updated odds on the playoffs, fights, and even next season's futures. Also, don't forget that baseball is back and the start of the Major League Baseball season is finally here, and BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino and poker games. It is super easy to get started, guys. All you have to do is head to the website or use your mobile device to join today using that promo code CLNS50 to receive a 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts. But the New England Patriots trade up in the second round with the Kansas City Chiefs, shipping off picks 54 and 158 to acquire pick 50 to draft Baylor wide receiver Tyquan Thornton. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section below. Remember to leave a big like on this video and subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. Like always, I appreciate you guys for watching, and go Pats.